All right, the next one was from Paul Philbrick. Paul. Worst heel turn ever and worst face turn ever, according to the two of us.
Okay. Well, this is going to prove that we haven't really looked these questions over beforehand.
Yeah.
I don't know that. Because we're talking about even our limited history of wrestling is like 20 years worth at this point.
Yeah.
Really, the first one that comes to mind is going to be Stone Cold at WrestleMania 17.
Yeah.
And in theory, I think it was a good idea because I know even Austin has said like he wanted to, but you could not. I don't know what they were thinking doing that turn not only in the main event of WrestleMania but in his home state after he had just been out for I think it was like over a year at that point.
Yeah, to me that was when the Attitude Era was gone. That was it.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
Oh, it was.
They still kind of did the same shit for the next 5 years, but the second they shook hands, that was the end of it as far as I was concerned. That was it. Because that's fucking Luke Skywalker shaking hands with Darth Vader. And granted, that kind of happened at the end of Jedi, so that's a shitty example. But again, that's fucking. I can't think of a better example of. But that's not supposed to happen. That shouldn't have happened, as far as I'm concerned. So that was the night that was over.
And one of the more recent ones that actually comes to mind was when they tried doing it with Daniel Bryan when he joined the Wyatt family for like a week.
Well, I kind of knew what they were gonna. I knew they weren't gonna keep him there.
I don't think that was the plan. And actually, he said in an interview later that Daniel Bryan, when he did an interview, the original plan before it was obvious that the crowd was just not going to accept it, he was going to be with the Wyatts on a permanent basis.
Oh, wow.
That was supposed to be that going forward.
Stupid.
And
That's
it just
stupid.
you heard the crowd.
Still, that night when that was still one of my favorite moments of the last 5 years. That was an amazing.
And the poor guy doesn't even remember it.
Oh, really?
Because that was one of his concussions.
Oh my god.
He got it in that cage match.
Oh.
And that moment where he climbed the cage and was just yesing on top, and 18,000 fucking people are doing it. He doesn't remember anything about it.
That sucks. That is not good.
Worst. That was
we were going through
heel
worst.
turns.
I'd say the worst. Anything Big Show ever did, I don't like watching.
One.
Again, anytime they've ever done practically anything with the guy, I'm not a fan. I'm sorry. I'm sure Paul White's a nice guy. I'm sure he works his ass off. Otherwise, they wouldn't keep him there.
He's been a victim of shit booking for I think over a decade now.
Yeah, and I don't care. I'm sorry. I don't give a shit, and I don't think I'm alone there. Like most people complain all the time about how they don't give a shit about what he does, but I couldn't care less whether he's. Yeah, again, if I turned it on now, I couldn't tell you whether he was a heel or a babyface because I haven't seen it. And they really
this week he was a heel because he wrestled Sting.
Okay.
That was your Raw main event, by the way.
Oh,
Sting versus the Big Show.
I'm so glad I don't get home till 11 o'clock on Mondays. But
which I believe was on Nitro in like 1997.
Yeah. So anything he did that sucks. So that's my answer to the worst heel babyface thing. Let's see here. He also asked cake or ice cream. That said, not a fat joke.
I believe him.
Yeah, I know. But ice cream for me, always. You.
I've
never seen you eat anything sweet, by the way.
It happens occasionally.
I've never seen you eat so much as a fucking cupcake. Like, for real.
It happens with, like, dessert. I like fucking making them myself because I'm conscious of shit that goes into what I eat. I am going to go with cake, though. Just because, and there's also no reason you can't combine the two.
He's cake, I'm ice cream. It's crazy.
It's a fucking sitcom I'm making now.
I know. We've already been doing it for a year. Catch up. All right, a couple more here. Hassani Smith, what were your favorite and least favorite WWE storylines?
Okay, so storyline. What comes to mind for you?
For me, I can say I actually know them because I was when I was putting these questions together, I thought about it. The absolute best, and I don't care what anyone else on this planet says, it was the higher power.
That honestly, that was going to be
the higher power. When I was in 7th grade at the fucking time, and it was the biggest thing in the world, and
I just
you didn't
finished
know
eighth grade.
what was going on with that, and it was, you know, the whole, it had so much awesome character development in it. You kind of felt for Vince McMahon throughout the whole corporate ministry thing and losing his daughter, and he was becoming this sympathetic character that was kind of like you wanted to root for him, and then Shane was evil, and then the night when they did the whole tying Stephanie to the crucifix thing, which was fucking ridiculous. It was stupid.
That's going to lead into, well, go ahead.
It was stupid.
Yeah.
But then when Stone Cold came down like John fucking Wayne and cleaned house because he knew it was the right thing to do, as JR said, that's an awesome moment. And then when they finally revealed it was Vince with "It's me, Austin!" Great moment. And then when he came out as this new CEO, that place fucking erupted. I've never heard a crowd so loud. So to me, that's still the best storyline I've ever seen. The worst was Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero fighting for the custody of Dominic.
Oh my
Do you
god!
remember this?
Yeah, I do, because
They
that was like
a
the
ladder
heyday
match.
of my watching. Oh yeah.
A ladder match for the custody of a child. And it was the single dumbest thing I've ever seen, because they had the kid in the audience with a social worker, and the social worker is going to abide by the ruling of this fucking match. And then at some point, Dominic hops over the guardrail. Social worker does nothing to stop him, and he's just like tugging on Eddie's like tights, like, "Please don't, mister." It's so fucking terrible. Like, it's the worst thing I've ever seen them do. And it was, and I'm not one to be like, "Oh, that's in poor taste." Blah, blah, blah. That was stupid.
And it's a shame too, because that started. That was, they did not originally Ray and Eddie wrestle over a bullshit storyline like that. And it started. It was at WrestleMania 21. It was just all it was the two of them wrestling about you know, who's the better man. And you know what? This can actually tie. That was probably. I don't want to call it a bad heel turn, because Eddie was such a fucking brilliant heel. But that was another one that after a while just didn't work, because everyone loved him too much, and I don't think he stayed heel for any more than 4 months, because by the end of the year, he was tagging with Batista, and they had just turned him back babyface again, and then 2 months later he was dead.
Yeah, we know how that one ends, but yeah, to me that was the worst storyline ever. So what do you got?
Well, it's going to be sort of a piggyback on yours, but that whole I had stopped watching. In like the mid '90s for whatever reason. So the time you mentioned with you know, the Iron Man match and Mankind, unfortunately I wasn't around for, and I never watched WCW at all.
I used to flip back and forth. I was a flip backer and forther. If you remember, those of you who were live back then, Nitro started at 8 o'clock. And then Raw would start at 7:57 because of the whole, we don't want them to give away the results thing. That going on. Raw was an hour, Nitro was 2, so you'd watch Raw, and then you'd watch the last hour of Nitro, you'd get everything you'd ever needed. It was beautiful.
So the night that I started watching again, because when I was at school, every fucking kid and had either a DX shirt or an Austin shirt.
How do you think I felt that I started watching it before all that happened, and then all of a sudden it becomes the biggest thing in the world, and I'm not allowed to tell anyone how awesome I was before they started watching it.
Exactly.
I constantly go through this shit.
This is really wrestling hipsterism before that was even.
Dude, I am the worst with that. There was something recent that I was like, I did that fucking first, and everyone else did it. I swear I'm that guy, but I try to keep a lid on it because I know how annoying it can be. But that's what I felt throughout the 90s. I'm like, I watched it before you guys, and now you fucking idiots.
So when
I've seen ECW. I watched it on PB. What was it on back then? It was on like Channel 8 back here, which was like the local station. They used to get the syndicated tapes from them.
Yeah, we're around the Allentown area, and there was a local station. It was WGTW, Channel 48, and they would put on ECW Hardcore TV at.
It was late.
It was a Saturday night.
I used to go down at it was either 11 or midnight, but I used to sneak downstairs and watch it like at 11 and midnight back then.
And unfortunately, now we're off on an ECW tangent. I don't think either one of us got into ECW until the end of it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what year you originally saw it.
That was because I had heard about it through, I remember the first time I ever heard it, actually, was the first house show I went to for WWF, which was in '96.
Oh, so you got okay. So you were
First time I ever
way
heard of it
before I
because
was there.
during the
Okay.
like right in the middle of you know what? It might have even been a match between Justin Huck Bradshaw and Aldo Montoya, because that's what opened that show. But at some point, someone who was behind us yelled ECW. And I was
Yeah.
like, what the hell is that? And then I kept hearing it over and over, and then found out it's on this local station. I watched it. I was like, they threw him through 3 tables. That's
Yep.
amazing. And then WWE copied everything they did and basically became a lighter version of them. But yeah, that was my first exposure to that. And I never saw it live because can you imagine if, like, I had been like, Mom, it's wrestling, it's fine. And I had gone to like an ECW show at like Symphony Hall when they used to have him there.
Symphony Hall.
They used to have him, I
Jesus.
believe, or was it? No, not
was the
Symphony
Ag
Hall.
Hall.
Ag Hall.
Yep.
That's it. Yes.
And
Different
I did
hall.
get to go to the one show that they did at Stabler Arena, which is the
was.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's still the arena for Lehigh University is really close to us, and they have. I think they. Now wait, do they still play there, or do they do all at the?
No, it's all at PPNL Center.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
I
yeah,
haven't
so-
seen them go to Stabler's since that opened, and I don't know if they're ever going to go to PPNL Center again. I have no idea. I've been looking to see if they're going, but
Yeah, they did another one, so that's
yeah, they
their.
do too. But I don't know if they're. I haven't seen them on the docket. So
I'm sure they'll be back. Anyway,
plenty of bull riding.
Jesus Christ, the original question. Oh, okay, a storyline.
Yeah.
Was yeah. So the night that I started watching again, and then didn't stop until the whole Chris Benoit thing, was the night that
It's actually, ironically, when I started watching it again. But,
the night Stone Cold Steve Austin drove the Zamboni to the ring and put Vince McMahon in the
That was a
hospital.
great night, yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, what have I been missing this whole time? And so
Yeah.
I got into that, and me being such a horror movie mark, the ministry that the Undertaker was doing, and the thing that will always stick with me was the night that they sacrificed Dennis Knight and turned him into video. Like, I'm watching a ritual sacrifice being performed on live television, where he's like cutting his wrist and putting it into a chalice. And that was.
they did some shit back
Yeah.
in those days. And
Yeah,
thank God. The only reason I was allowed to watch is because my father worked on Monday nights, and that's
Yeah.
who I lived with at the time. And he was a bartender, so he worked till 2 in the morning. So we would call him. I remember we used to call because it was on from 9 to 11 at the time. And we used to have to call him at 10 and go, yeah, Dad, we're going to bed, hold on. And we would stay up and continue watching
Yeah.
the show. But if he had ever seen the shit they were doing back then, I never would have, even at 13, 14, never would have been allowed to. We'd been like, get this shit off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go.
So let's see. No, worst. I mean, you mentioned
Worst, yeah.
Dominic.
I did mention Dominic.
That was bad.
That was terrible.
Um,
There's a bevy of them, though. But to
God,
me, that one
I mean-
sticks out as just being like
yeah, and some of them at least like wrapped up quickly. Like when toward the end of before they finally came back, the end of the Dudley Boys run in WWE when they were SmackDown exclusive, and they took Paul Bearer and they buried him in concrete.
Yeah. Do you remember how everyone found out about him being Kane's father? Do you remember this
I don't
night?
think I remember this one. When was this?
This was, I want to say, like summer '97.
So was this when Kane first debuted?
Before he debuted? Because
Okay.
it was right when they were saying.
that's right, 'cause they
right
were
when
doing a lot of promos
Kane,
building up to it.
Right when they were
Okay.
saying Kane exists and all this and that. And then it was going to be revealed, like, what happened. I don't know if whoever remembers this, or even if you can find it online now, but they did a bit where it was going to be, they were filming Jerry Lawler about to interview Paul Bearer. He's like, he's got a secret to tell everybody, blah, blah, blah. And then, all right, we'll be back. And then they just see the camera, like, get put down, and then Jerry Lawler and Paul Bearer have a spontaneous, candid conversation where they're, oh yeah, I'm his father. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was me.
Shit,
You
okay.
slipped Undertaker's mom the salami. Like, yeah, I did. It was amazing. And then they come back. They cut to commercial. Come back, and Jerry's just like, everyone, you weren't supposed to see that. I'm sorry. It's like, so that's how everyone found out who Kane's father was. But that I liked that back then. I thought that was cool shit.
There was a
'cause
certain.
was
I mean, there's
12.
always room for trash too.
I was 12. What
God,
can I say?
what else was there? I mean, there was the whole Katie Vick thing.
Yeah. Kate
Jesus
Vick.
God,
That's been
I could-
done.
What else was? Because there was some other stuff like throughout. Yeah, the whole like McMahon in every corner gimmick that they had to do for WrestleMania.
Yeah, I can. While we're on the subject, since we're going off on tangents anyway, I can pinpoint the moments that I stopped watching, and I think everyone goes through this, especially with WWE, where you just like, all right, I give up for now, I'm done. The first was when Stone Cold got hit with the car.
Oh, okay.
That night, I checked out. I was like, all right, like he's gone. Sorry, I don't give a shit. Not enough. And that's when I put it down for like until around the Chris Benoit thing happened, and that's when I started getting back into it. Then I stopped watching it after Mr. McMahon's Millions.
Oh god, I was watching
the night where the stage fell apart and they tried to do the work shoot thing where he's calling Triple H Paul. Paul, I can't feel my legs. Like, ugh.
And you know what the best part is? The company itself has acknowledged how bad that was because on the network show they do WWE Countdown, which they're like top 10 gimmick or whatever it is. They had an episode called Top 10 Blunders, and it was essentially like their version of Botchamania because they had. Sid doing the, can we do this again? They had Shockmaster, but their number one thing was that.
What a terrible
And even Vince
thing.
flat out said, like, some ideas I have just, they don't work out.
Yeah. That was... And I checked out after that, and then I don't remember exactly what led
Well, because
to
at that point, it was pretty much, it was the John Cena show and Variety Hour.
Well, and I don't know. I just kind of checked out for a long time, for a while, and I was just like, this is not.
And it really took forever for like somebody else to be injected into the main event picture because from 2007 to 2011, it was pretty much Cena, Orton, and Batista.
Yeah.
And that was it. What's amazing is that at one time. The Miz was WWE champion.
Yes.
And he defeated Cena at a WrestleMania. And now he's... Yeah.
Poor Miz. All right, so we went on that one long enough. We have one final question here from Ahmed Mashour, which if you're the kid who made that clock, cool.
Jesus.
I like that clock. I doubt you're that child, though. But anyway,
That would be a pretty cool coincidence,
it
though.
would be, though, wouldn't it? If that, then can we come to the White House with you and show off the clock to Barack Obama? Because that would be amazing. Because that's apparently going to happen. I guess Obama tweeted it. Like, come to the White House.
Okay, cool.
Come to the White House, I want to look at your clock, or whatever he said. But anyway, he asked, he said first of all, he said we're humor experts. Which is so far removed from truth.
Yeah, I think a bit of disclosure or disclaimer needed there.
No,
yeah.
We are not experts whatsoever. But thank you.
That was a very nice ego boost.
Yes. He asked, how do you think that the WWE can incorporate good humor in their segments to make the overall show more entertaining?
My first instinct of responding to that is that, there's a problem that, and this actually goes beyond. We'll answer the question about humor, but one of the issues I think that is facing WWE right now is that they are having to serve two completely different audiences because their number one concern right now, for as long as their main revenue income is going to be the TV rights, is keeping Raw's ratings up. Now, who are the people that usually watch Raw? They're the ones that are being advertised, the candy and the toys and everything else. Those are the kids, and those are the ones that they have to really try and hold on to. So, humor for kids like that is going to be one thing. Now, this would have been, I think, a pretty easy answer 2 years ago, but now that you have the WWE network, the ones that are subscribing to that are not the kids. They're the ones that are really around like our age and are or are the parents of the kids, and you want to put on stuff that's going to keep them interested, and you're not going to be able to make adults laugh or even be entertained in the same way that the kids are. So as far as the humor goes, the biggest thing that they have to do is that if you look at their job openings for the creative team, the thing that they always ask for are people who have a background in television.
Yeah.
And who have a background in specifically reality television. And that's a problem because...
Yeah, that was going to be my thing. Like, they hire pussies. They hire pussies to write their shows who have never said anything horrible in their lives. They've never actually had to be mean to anybody. They don't know how to write for that kind of television. So they write what they know. And when they write what they know, you get the kind of shit that you get now, where, you know, they sound like they're on the fucking Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
And that's it. It sucks. What's funny is the characters that you bring to it, not necessarily the shit you make them do. Dean Ambrose can be really funny when he's just Dean Ambrose.
He does one of the best Dusty Rhodes impressions you'll ever hear in your life.
Well, hey, calm down. But when you see him come out with blow-up dolls and like, this is what I'm going to do to Seth Rollins, that sucks. And that's something guaranteed a writer said, no, this is going to be hilarious. It's not. It sucks. And I think you need to put that control back with the actual talent as opposed to...
That's exactly, yeah.
Here's who we're writing this script for you, and here's what we think is funny. No one gives a shit what you think is funny because it's not. And it's been proven that it's not funny.
It's actually been proven very recently. As a matter of fact, if you guys have the network, which I'm sure a lot of you do, go on and watch the Table for Three show that the New Day just did. And also listen to the episode of Chris Jericho's podcast that they did. Because what you see right now with the New Day, which is easily the funniest thing in all of wrestling right now, Xavier Woods specifically was going to Vince McMahon's office every single week and pitching him idea after idea after idea. And then so finally, he was able to get this group together and pitch the idea of what they're doing now, which is them. These are not, I mean, they're characters, sure, but what you see Xavier, Kofi, and Big E doing on TV every week is just heightened versions of themselves. And that's inevitably what's funny, and that's also what made people funny back in the Attitude Era, which is what everyone gravitates towards when a sighting like the Glory Days. But that was
can I address this briefly? Enough with the rose-tinted glasses about that time. Granted, I did say, hey, that was one of my favorite storylines and all that. Go back and watch it, please. Go back and watch. And I don't mean like the big tentpole things that happen, like the big highlights that they show you. Go back and just watch Raw from that time. It's not all good. In fact, a lot of it sucks. A lot of it was really bad. And that's why, and again, I can't say you can attribute all that to Vince Russo, but you contribute some
there
of
was,
it to it.
there was some of it. Anyway, with humor, now my example, the reason I was citing that era is because at the time, you didn't have reality TV writers who had no background in wrestling coming in and scripting word for word everything a wrestler is going to say, which is why, fucking Roman Reigns was saying things like suffer and succotash leading up to being a WrestleMania main eventer.
Yeah,
that's what's going to fucking not get him over with the crowd.
Yeah, he should not talk.
Yeah.
He should never talk.
Well, he actually...
Unless it's very little, just to say, I'm going to kill you. There you go. Why do you think fucking Brock is so big? He doesn't talk. They have someone talk for him who's good at talking. That's why Brock, and other than the fact that he goes in and murders people and it's great to watch, that's why if remember when they brought him back and they actually had him talk before they gave him Paul Heyman? Is that why you're feeling the feelings that you're feeling, John? Fucking horrible. He should never talk. Exactly. So again, why would you give the microphone to someone who's not a good talker? I don't get it. Everyone has to talk now.
Yeah.
And that's because of writers. But so that's something they can do is just fire the writers. That's the advice from the Smart Mark roommates is fire the fucking writers because they suck.
Yes, and perhaps I don't know about hire, cause this is the other thing. A lot of people who, even if they do come from wrestling backgrounds, who end up going to work for WWE, they get soured on it within like a month because they put these ideas forward and Vince says, "Oh no, that's stupid."
Yeah.
And that's all you deal with. Because ultimately, we can offer all the suggestions in the world, and they can be great. And those writers, maybe they do come up with a great idea once in a while, but that's the thing. Everything goes through Vince.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't like it, it's not going to go anywhere.
So, fire the writers, kill Vince. There you go.
And so, yeah, okay.
Not literally. God damn, not literally. Do not literally go and kill Vince. I don't want. Who's there? Is their lawyer still Jerry McDivitt?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want Jerry McDivitt on our dick. Like that seems like the kind of thing they might pick out.
Well, he's a
So,
little preoccupied right now.
That's true. Yeah, he's got better things to worry
Yeah.
about. But again, don't actually go kill Vince McMahon. But let's just all hope he steps down soon. So I think that's all the questions we
That
have.
should be, yeah.
That's
Hopefully
it.
we can do this again.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully we get more things. And again, we want to thank everybody. This is actually, we're doing this because it's been a year since we started it. So thank you to everyone who's actually watching this right now. We appreciate it. And hopefully we'll see you in a year. So thanks a lot. Cool. All right. Let me see here. I'll edit all this out maybe.